Okay, class, we're back. We're looking now at the enteric nervous system, the nervous system within the GI tract. Remember what we said earlier about that nervous system. What did we say? We said that there are 400 to 600 million neurons in the gut. Okay, so it has a very extensive nervous system. Very extensive nervous system. Submucosal plexus in the submucosa regulates gland and mucin in the mucosa. So in the submucosal plexus regulates the mucosa. And the mesenteric plexus, what it does is to handle those longitudinal and circular muscles. So remember we had the muscularis mucosa. And so that would be the submucosal plexus, handles the muscularis mucosa in the mucosa. And in the regular muscular layer, which would be the muscularis externa, the mesenteric nerve plexus controls that. Okay. All right. So it's linked to the central nervous system. So the central nervous system comes in and gives the control over, so here we go. Central nervous system comes in and gives control over operating, but the mesenteric plexus, it can operate independently, but it's upregulated or downregulated by the autonomic nervous system. Long autonomic synapse with enteric plexus. Sympathetic fibers inhibit secretion and motility. Remember the sympathetic nervous system, norepinephrine turns the gut off because gut action is a rest and recluse, and parasympathetic rest and recluse turns it on. Okay. So now we go to some anatomy. Let's now talk a little bit about the mouth. We did some of this when we did the respiratory. All right. The buccal cavity, oral cavity, bounded by the lips, cheeks, tongue, okay. Oral cavity opening, lined with stratified squamous. See, this is a non-keratinized stratified squamous, unlike on your skin, which is a keratinized stratified squamous. Okay, but remember stratified squamous, you want that because those cells can shed off. And the mouth is getting a lot of stuff coming in, food and everything, which would shave the epithelium off. So you need a stratified. Okay, so here's that. Now we have the teeth here. Okay, so we're going to go. Let's see what we got. Lips and cheeks contain the orbicularis oris and buccinator muscle. Buccinator muscle in the cheek, orbicularis oris muscle. Let's go here. Orbicularis oris muscle, kind of open. It goes around the lips there. Orbicularis oris. It's orbital. The vestibule would be this, to make it simple. Close your teeth so nothing can get through your teeth. Everything behind the lips but outside the teeth is the hallway, the vestibule. So if your teeth are closed and anything outside the teeth closed and inside the lips would be the vestibule. The oral cavity proper is when you open your mouth and you go behind the teeth. The frenulum, which would be this right here. See, that's that frenulum right there. That frenulum. There's another one. This little area right there. Okay. Attaches the lip to the gums. Okay. Let's go further. The palate. You have a hard palate and you have a soft palate. You have a hard palate and you have a soft palate. Okay. So going back to the bones. The palatine process of the maxilla makes up the anterior 2/3 of the hard palate. Okay. Palatine process of the maxilla. The palatine bone makes up the back 1/3. So the palatine process of the maxilla makes up the anterior 2/3, and the palatine bone makes up the posterior 1/3. And then back from that, you don't have bone, and that's called the soft palate. The soft palate. Form mostly skeletal muscle up in there. Okay. So hard palate and soft palate. Hard palate, and then once you go back, you're into the soft palate. That's the uvula right there. That's the uvula. Okay. Soft palate closes off the nasopharynx doing swallowing. Remember we did that in respiratory, that you would shift the palate back to close the oropharynx from the nasopharynx so food would not go out through the nose. Uvula projects down. That's the uvula right there. Okay. Here I inserted the picture of the hard palate. See, this is the maxilla, and see right there that anterior 2/3 is the palatine process of the maxilla, and here's that posterior 1/3. See, if this doesn't close when we have a cleft lip, cleft palate type of thing. All right, let's go a little further. The tongue. Okay, so now we come into the tongue. Let's look at the tongue there. This will be the tongue. All right. Functions in repositioning and mixing food, new and chewing. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. Formation of the bolus. See, what happens is that when you put food in your mouth, you chew it up, and the form becomes a bolus of food. And what the teeth did make the bolus, but the lung helps kind of modify the bolus and make it more rounded and everything. Initiation of swallowing, speech, and taste. We pretty much know that. Remember, swallowing is called deglutition. We talked about that a little bit in respiratory. The tongue helps with speech, right? See, we had a labial frenulum, but we also have a lingual frenulum. Let's see if I can find it. That lingual frenulum is hard to see here, but that lingual frenulum is at the bottom of the tongue. And, okay, see that lingual frenulum, I picked up a picture, is attachment to the floor of the mouth. That's that lingual frenulum. Now, you've heard of people called tie tongue. Ankylosing, if it's too short, they have to cut it. You can't make a T sound. So you have to put your tongue to the top of your the palate. Okay, so that's the tongue. Let's go further. Here's some of those. The tongue has some extrinsic muscles and intrinsic. The extrinsic muscles move the tongue side to side, up and down. The intrinsic term curl the tongue itself. They're inside the tongue. The transversalis muscle, longitudinalis muscles, inside there. Let's go a little further, see what we got. Okay, so the tongue has, so it looks like I don't have much. The tongue has extrinsic muscles that reposition the tongue, and then it has those that change the shape of the tongue. And you have some that go across, some go up and down, longitudinalis, the transversus, and so forth. Okay. The tongue has papillae on it. These are little raised areas on the tongue, that do various things. They help with roughening the food, and they help with taste. They help with roughening the food, and they help with taste. Now, this terminal sulcus, this part of the tongue is in your mouth. This part behind here is in the oropharynx. So you have these different papillae on the tongue. Here are these papillae. You have filiform, fungiform, valate, and folate. Some call these circumvallate. Now, when we come to that, let's look at this. The filiform or whitish give the tongue a roughness, provide friction, have keratin in the cells. but they don't do any taste. The fungiform are scattered over the tongue, right here. See these little areas? Taste buds. You don't see in these here. The circumvallate rows in the back of the tongue. They're in the back more. Okay, here's circumvallate, also called vallate, back here. Okay, so here's the filiform. They're kind of here. Here's the fungiform. There they are in more of the tip. These have taste, those little things right there are taste buds. So these have taste buds, and the folate have taste buds, lateral aspect of the tongue. So these are positioned in various areas of the tongue. So that again, various areas. And like I said, the fungiform, circumvallate, and folate have taste buds. These don't. These just kind of roughen the food there. Okay. Go a little further. We've already mentioned the terminal sulcus, which is this. This part is in the oral cavity, and this is in the oral pharynx. Okay, we got that. Now, saliva, we go to saliva, and we have what we call extrinsic salivary glands and intrinsic. Intrinsic are kind of in the mucosa of the mouth itself. Let's go here. Kind of in the mucosa of the mouth. But the extrinsic glands would be these like this here, like the parotid gland. Okay, so we have the parotid extrinsic gland. Okay, we have the submandibular type. See that parotid, that's the one with mumps. It comes across with this parotid duct, which is also called right there. Okay, and then we've got the submandibular glands. Okay, submandibular glands right there. Submandibular. Okay. And here's that submandibular duct right there. Okay, I'm going to come over here. Then we got the sublingual glands. All right, so we got the parotid, submandibular, and sublingual. Parotid, submandibular, and sublingual. We'll come back here to an open area of the mouth. All right, right here, this is an opening right there. I want you to look at that, of the submandibular duct. Right there. Now, the sublingual ducts are all along here. So you see those right there? See, this is the opening to the right there, submandibular duct. Okay, let's go back here. So right here, submandibular gland under the mandible, and its duct, which is hard to see. That's the submandibular, and here's its duct right there. But it's hard to see that. See the sublingual right there, just kind of right there. That's that sublingual gland, and it's pouring into the bottom of the tongue in several areas. Pouring into the bottom of the tongue, but that submandibular, if you open your mouth and look in the mirror, raise your tongue up, you'll see these two little ducts right there. Let me look at it. Right there. Those are the two little ducts right there. But those sublingual just kind of do this here. They go all up and down. Okay. Now, when we get to the glands, what turns them on? Okay, we have different ganglions that turn them on. All right, right here, the parasympathetic turns it on. The parotid gland right there is coming from this cranial nerve 9, the glossopharyngeal, using the otic ganglion. The others are coming from cranial nerve 7. 7 was the facial. Okay, now real quickly, the parasympathetic makes you salivate, acetylcholine. The superior cervical ganglion turns the salivary glands off. So this here is sympathetic. It turns it off. Okay, norepinephrine, but acetylcholine turns it on. Okay. So if we want to dry secretions, we use an anticholinergic, like for surgery.